Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and yes, you saw the title. Today we're going to be discussing whether I think Arsenal is dead or not. We're also going to be reacting to some videos about Arsenal dying, and then I'm going to be giving a few suggestions to which I think could help the game revive its player count. But anyways, I first want to say why I'm making this video. So lately I have noticed a lot of discussion about whether Arsenal is dying or not. I've also seen many people quitting the game or making videos about the game's low player count, and today I want to give my opinion, my honest opinion on this, and hopefully put the spotlight on some other creators, because I know it feels like there's no creators anymore to watch on Arsenal, but there are a few underrated content creators that I want to put the spotlight on so you guys can watch them when nobody else is uploading. But before I get into my opinion on if Arsenal is dying, please consider subscribing. If we hit 20k before the end of the year, I'm going to go bald on video and it should be really funny. But anyways, let's get straight into it. Okay, so it's not a secret Arsenal is dying. I know it may sound like an exaggeration, but this time it's really the truth. Arsenal has recently hit new lows that it hasn't seen in over 5 years. In fact, the game today hit a player count of 3.1 thousand players, which as far as I'm aware is the lowest it's had in over 5 years, and that's excluding Roblox server crashes. Currently, the game averages around 5,000 concurrent users, which as you should be able to recognize is far less than it has ever had before. If we look at the player count chart for Arsenal, you'll notice it's been dropping significantly over the past half a year. Earlier this year, the game was averaging around 10 to 12,000 players at any given time, and if you go to the last year, it was even higher at around 15,000. There are a few reasons to why this is the case, the most noticeable likely being the arrival of a new competitor game, Rivals. In the past 5 years, there have been many games to challenge Arsenal's spot as a #1 Roblox FPS game, but none of them have been able to absolutely destroy Arsenal like Rivals has been able to. Rivals' placement as a #1 FPS game on Roblox essentially means that any new player who could have played Arsenal for the first time will likely go to play Rivals instead. This significantly decreases the amount of new eyes on Arsenal. And the worrying thing about this is that Rivals shows no sign of dying anytime soon. The game is consistently averaging between 50 and 70,000 concurrent players, which makes it 10 times more popular than Arsenal currently. But we can't solely blame Rivals for Arsenal's drop in player count, because the game has been declining in players for much longer than Rivals has even been around. This brings me to my next point, which is the lack of any significant updates to Arsenal. As we all know, Arsenal has been slacking badly lately when it comes to updates. We're only getting a few updates every year, and they've mostly been insignificant and unoriginal. Now this year we've had some amazing events from the developers, but these aren't things that will make a long-lasting impact on the game, and were mostly catered towards new temporary players rather than Arsenal's existing player base. The lack of new content has made it really difficult for Arsenal content creators to make any content on the game, and as we all know, games are built on advertising, with content creators being the backbone of most games on Roblox. But content creators aren't just good for promoting the game to new audiences. Think about it this way, if somebody is not playing Arsenal, they become more likely to forget about the game and not want to play. But if there is a thriving content creation side to a game, even if those players are not playing the game, they may still be watching videos on that game and interacting with the game, therefore keeping Arsenal at the forefront of their mind and making them want to play the game more when they get the chance. And the thing is, we've seen many content creators leave the game in the past few years, with each of them having their own different reasons, but with the most consistent reason being the complete lack of content to make videos on, and really I can't blame them. I've myself been very close to quitting a few times just because there really isn't anything to make videos on with this game. But of course, you can't just solely rely on content creators to promote your game. And this brings me to another big problem with Arsenal. To put it simply, Arsenal's advertisement is absolutely abysmal. I don't mean any disrespect by this, but when you look at the game currently, nothing points to the game being a shooter game, having a recent update, or being interesting to play at all. Yeah, the art is really nice to look at, and whoever made it did a very nice job, but good art isn't going to get clicks. It's obvious that this is stunting Arsenal's growth, and I even did my own test to see if better icons and titling would work, and as you can see, it did. Let's take a look at this example I made. Bear in mind, I made this in around 1 minute using a thumbnail from Ryan Aston, and Rolf could obviously do a much better job than this while still using a more relevant Arsenal skin to the update. But the reason this works is #1, the title promotes an update, and #2, the icon has great contrast and is very eye-catching. If you look at the front page on Roblox, the thing you'll most consistently see with big games is catchy icons with bright colors and titles promoting recent updates and additions. Arsenal doesn't have any of this, and it feels like the developers don't even want to promote their game, as they make no real attempts to do so. I feel personally that they may be holding off on promoting the game until Arsenal Reloaded releases, but with no set release date for Reloaded, this is just not sustainable for the game at all. And speaking on Reloaded, Excitable recently made a really good video detailing why it may be a good option for Rob to release Reloaded as soon as possible. And to their credit, it, the developers have taken notice of this video, so I'm hoping to see them act on it soon. I personally have many worries for Reloaded, but that's for another video in the future. Anyways, it's great to see that the devs have increased their interaction with the community, as over the past few years, one of the main criticisms Rolf has gotten was the lack of community interaction from the developers, and it's great to see them leaking updates to generate hype again and also answering the community's questions. Anyways, now that I've discussed a few things that I think are really holding back the game and making it kind of die, I want to go over a few videos made by different creators and give my opinion on some of the opinions that they make. But anyways, please go watch the full videos from these creators, they'll be linked in the description, and I'm only going to be showing a few clips from each. So unfortunately, over the past few months, we've had a few Arsenal content creators either quit the game completely or take a break from the game. And you may remember that even I was going to quit the game. I am going to be quitting Arsenal. However, I am not going to be permanently quitting Arsenal. This game is no longer fun for me to make videos on or for me to play. Honestly, this game is just so dry, and there is almost nothing to do on this game anymore. But luckily, after that video, the devs saved me and released an update the next day, which brought me back to playing the game. But in the last week, 2 more Arsenal content creators just got fed up and decided to temporarily quit the game as well.
I'm going to be taking a break from Arsenal for a little bit. I don't know for how long. I'm not really finding this game that fun anymore, and I kind of want to branch out my content a little bit.
I want to quit YouTube.
And of course, I wish them the best on what they decide to do, and I know Rage is likely to come back very soon, which will be nice, but really it just shows that making Arsenal videos is really not sustainable anymore, as there really isn't much to do on the game. And of course, there's been other YouTubers like GrainyDev, Careful, and Elixir who seemingly quit making videos on the game completely, with GrainyDev being the only one to actually make a video about quitting. But it's a sad trend to see where we're not really getting many new creators, but we're seeing so many people leave the game, and I really don't blame them. Honestly, I wish the best for all of these creators I just mentioned. And quite frankly, it's expected really, because there is nothing to do on this game anymore. But don't worry, there are still a lot of dedicated content creators, and honestly, a lot of these guys I don't see leaving anytime soon. But anyways, now we're going to be watching Asiany's video about his worries for Roblox Arsenal, and yeah, I really sympathize on a lot of the points.
So yeah, you did read the title right. I am worried and scared for Roblox Arsenal. Over the years, there has really not been any changes to the game, really.
It's true, if you go back like 2 years ago, you look at Arsenal then, look at Arsenal now, it's pretty much the exact same, just with a few minor changes.
When update happens, new skin, map reskin, new map comes into the rotation. And don't get me wrong, those maps in rotation, those skins are fire. Crystal always kills it, everything she does.
Yeah, the skins are always top tier, I can't lie. One thing you cannot be angry at Arsenal on is the skin quality. The skin quality is always top tier.
But at the same time, I'm worried that if this goes along for a long time, player base might drop even more. There's nothing for new players to offer.
It's true, I mean, there's literally nothing really. Like, what incentives are there really for new players to join and start playing the game? There's no obtainable rare skins. There's no like level up milestone rewards or anything to like actually incentivize grinding and actually playing the game and getting better. There's no rewards for like getting fast games or anything, and because of these, like, you're not really incentivized to actually play the game, get better, and get high levels.
As someone who has been playing this game since I was around 11, it really hurts seeing something you've been playing for so long, something that has been part of your life for so long, go this route.
I really sympathize that like a lot, because I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary of playing Roblox Arsenal this month, and yeah, it really hurts to see the game so dead, because I remember the peak of this game. I was there for the game's entire peak. It was so good, and I know Asiany cares so much about the game. He probably cares the most out of everybody I know. All I want is for Arsenal to succeed, and the only game I want to make videos on is Arsenal. That is the only game that I've actually felt the edge to like actually make videos on, and I've genuinely enjoyed making content on this game. But anyways, now we're gonna watch Excitable's video about why he thinks Reloaded should be coming out now. So this is a clip from Excitable's stream where he was just discussing why he thinks Reloaded should come out now. And yeah, I really agree with what he says.
I'm honestly feeling quite demotivated right now, so my most recent videos probably won't be as good as my normal ones. I just don't feel motivation right now.
And yeah, I have that really bad as well. You might be able to tell by my voice, I'm just really not motivated lately to stream Arsenal or to make videos on Arsenal, because I can't think of anything that really deserves for a video to be made on it in Arsenal. You may have noticed with every other Arsenal channel and and mine, the views are considerably, like, much lower than ever before. The views are really low. But yeah, it's just hard to find that motivation now.
The number one problem that I have with Reloaded currently, I feel like Reloaded will never release because they always get feedback, right? And then people will be like, oh no, actually I don't like this. And then they'll spend a few days trying to change that. And then people dislike it because they can't play it. And like when you can't play it, you can't give proper feedback, can you? You can't just give feedback on what images or videos you see.
So yeah, I mean, I have the exact same feeling, and I know almost everybody that I talk to on a daily basis feels the exact same way. It just feels like Arsenal is just never, like Arsenal Reloaded is just never going to release. That's just the feeling that I get. Like when I think of Arsenal Reloaded, I don't get hyped or excited for it because in my head, it just feels like a game that I'm never going to be able to play, a game that I'm never going to see. And I know obviously it will release one day, but it just doesn't feel like it ever will because we've been waiting this whole time. I've been waiting years and years for Arsenal Reloaded, and it still doesn't feel like it's even close.
The beta on Twitter, they're like, oh wow, this looks cool and this looks cool. But then when they played it, they're like, actually, is it that good? Do I want this or do I want that?
Another good point as well, it's really difficult to tell whether a game's good from like visuals, from pictures and videos. A game can look really good in a video, but then you actually play it and it just doesn't feel right, you know, something just doesn't feel right about the game. And that's what I had with Arsenal Reloaded when the beta test came out. It looked really good, it was really cool in the footage, the actual features were really good, but it just didn't feel right, the actual game itself. And yeah, that's the difference with actually being able to experience a game and just watching somebody else experience it.
I think the best thing for the developers to do with Arsenal Reloaded is to just release it now.
And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but I think he actually makes a really good point.
I know this could sound dumb, but I'm going to explain why I think this is the best option. Number one, it has taken 2 years for Arsenal Reloaded to have a beta test. And currently, according to the Trello, at this rate, Reloaded will have its final test in another 4 years. So it would have been 6 years from Reloaded being announced to Reloaded having its final test. Not even releasing, by the way. That is just not a sustainable way to go for Arsenal. I mean, this current engine for Arsenal is already 6 years old. It's struggling. It's having constant problems. Things like just removing the battle pass can break the entire game for the developers. And I think making it harder for themselves by working on this current version of Arsenal.
And it's true as well, like you can tell the devs are having a really hard time actually adding features with this new engine. Every time we get an update, something's broken. Every time we get an update, actually, it's not just something being broken, it's something being broken that seems like it shouldn't break. You know, something that doesn't feel like it makes sense for that thing to be broken, right? And that's because of the engine. The engine is just, it's not in a good place. It's old, it's outdated, and we really need Arsenal Reloaded's new engine quite badly. And the next point he makes is also really good.
If they dropped it now, they'd get loads of feedback, and although yes, it will be probably really negative, they'll be able to change things really quickly.
And that's another good point as well, like even though there will be inevitably a lot of really negative feedback is still better than no feedback. And honestly, I don't really see anybody actually quitting the game if Reloaded drops and it's slightly worse than current Arsenal. Because the thing is, if people have lasted this long, all these years, I don't see them quitting because of something so small like Reloaded having a bad release day. And obviously that level of feedback with the new engine, the new upgraded engine, it should be easy for them to balance things out and fix the game when it releases, and there will be so much hype for it, and there will actually be so much promotion for it as well. They'll have so much feedback, and it's much better than whatever feedback they're getting from whatever small amount of testers they have currently. And yeah, I mean, really, what does Arsenal have to lose right now? The game is already at its lowest point. It's not like it's going to drop any further by Reloaded releasing. So I think this is a really good idea. Now, obviously, I'm not saying Reloaded should release right now. We still have some planned updates for current Arsenal, but it'd be nice for it to maybe release sometime like early 2025, and then we can actually just have Reloaded, whether or not it's fully finished. We can actually have Reloaded, and the wait, you know, because Reloaded used to be so hype, now it has no hype because we just waited that long for it.
A good example is the Evade rehaul. It was really hated when it got released. People did not like it. People did not like the way the game played. But eventually, people adjusted, people liked it, and it went well.
I mean, and this is pretty much how every single upgraded game is. Usually, people get so used to the previous game that when the new game comes out, they just don't like it because it's different. But over time, people get used to change. It takes time for people to get used to change. That's why when you play a new game, even if it's similar to a game you've already played before, you're probably not going to be great right off the bat, but you get used to it and then you get good good at it. And yeah, I feel like that would be the case with Arsenal again.
So that is why I think Arsenal Reloaded, instead of releasing incrementally with testing phases, it should release now.
And the developers have already watched this video and they're already aware of it, and they even said he had some good opinions. So I'm really hoping that they actually act on some of the things that Excitable suggested here, because I think it'll be really, really good. And honestly, the devs need to stop worrying about the negative feedback. It's inevitable that the game will get negative feedback. It's just part of the game, you know. Anyways, now I wanted to give a few suggestions for ways that I think Arsenal could have a huge boost in player count. Some of these may be possible before Reloaded, some may only be possible in Reloaded, and some of these the devs may already have planned. These are mostly going to be features rather than general feedback, like suggesting better advertisement. But anyways, let's get into the first one. So the first and most obvious way to make a difference in a player count, aside from just releasing Reloaded, would be to add trading, specifically in the form of trading dedicated servers. Now this would be huge, because obviously we wouldn't want trading to be in normal servers, because it would just mean that half the players would be AFK. But as we know, trading substantially increases the player base in almost any game. Of course, it also opens the possibility for things like scamming, but that's inevitable. That's going to happen regardless. That doesn't mean that trading is a bad thing for the game, just because it will bring things like scamming. In Arsenal, a game like Arsenal, where skins are such a big focus with the game, trading really should be like an obvious thing to add, and honestly, it would just make the game so much better. It would even bring an incentive for old players who may have got rare skins to come back to the game, because now their skins are actually worth something and they can actually trade them around, and now they have more of an incentive to play. And you could even like take premium servers and just turn premium servers into trading servers, because right now literally nobody uses premium servers. But anyways, and now I want to go on to the next thing, because I don't want to dwell too long on each individual feature that I want to, you know, put forward. So the next thing I'm suggesting, and this is one that I'm pretty sure Rob is already working on obviously, is remade ELO 1v1s and 2v2s. As we know, the current 1v1 system is terrible, it's broken, it doesn't work, but it would also be nice to add things like 2v2s or maybe even 3v3s to it. And also it could be cool if you got rewards based on what ELO rank you can obtain during that. The next thing I want to put forward is bring back rare dev skin hunts, or just rare skins in general, and also bring back codes. Luckily, we've already kind of brought back codes. There's been a lot more codes recently, but it'll be nice to have some rare dev skin hunts again, because, you know, that's what a lot of the hype used to be generated over with Arsenal back in the day. The next thing, now these things are kind of like together as a suggestion. One is career level / kill milestone rewards. So for example, every 100,000 kills that you get, maybe you get a skin, maybe at level 1,000 you get like a really rare skin or something. And then the other one is career level / kill leaderboards, so you can see the top highest level players. So both of these will give like a huge incentive to grind, and it would really make it feel rewarding leveling up, because right now the only reason to grind is just to get a high level. That's literally it. And it'll be nice to actually get rewarded for getting a high level and being dedicated to the game. The next one is a way to add / make custom maps to play in VIP servers. I think that's self-explanatory. I remember hearing something about it years ago, but for some reason it hasn't been added. Maybe the devs found it was too hard to make, or it wasn't possible, I don't know. But I think it would be really cool if that was possible in the game. The next one is multiplayer zombies. You know, it would just be cool. We don't need it, but I think it would just be really cool to have multiplayer zombies in Arsenal. It would really fit with the game. And then the next one is to give more content creators Orange Team or other things to make content on. So it's great that they've actually given it out. I feel privileged to actually have Orange Team now, and so does Excitable. But there are so many other Arsenal YouTubers like Gnarly Pickle that haven't got it, and they do really need it, because these guys, they get followed by exploiters all the time, but they're trying to make the best content that they can, and they do really do a lot for this game. And if I think of any more suggestions, I'll just leave them in the top comments. Now this video wasn't planned to be this long. I just decided to like make a video about Excitable's video, and then it just snowballed into like a huge video about Arsenal, because I mean, I'm just that passionate about this game. I really do care about this game a lot. So I hope some of the things that I said today were useful. I was going to add a bit more in this video, but I realized it's getting a little bit over the top with how long this video is getting and how much I'm adding to it. But anyways, thank you for watching. This is my first video like this, and I'll see you in the next one, which will hopefully be a gameplay video.